Hi everyone, thanks for listening to our webinar today. I'm Hannah, I'm part of Damar Training's recruitment team. So we are specialist apprenticeship providers based in Stockport. We recruit apprentices for companies, mainly around the Greater Manchester area, but we do also cover other locations as well across the country. So what happens is when you make that initial contact with Damar, you do come through to us, the recruitment team. We tell you all about available opportunities and also get you prepared for interview and support you throughout your job search as well. So if you are local, you can come into the office and see us. We can help you do things like get your CV sorted and also again give you that interview preparation that you need. So we provide the apprenticeship, but we also deliver the training as well. So once you've actually been offered a position, you're allocated a trainer that will then support you and assess you throughout your apprenticeship programme. So the main areas that we cover are administration, accountancy and legal services, and we also offer a number of creative and digital apprenticeships too. And some of the employers that we do work with include Greater Manchester Police, Ofsted and a few big name law firms as well. So the reason that we're doing this webinar today is just to introduce you to some options available after you leave school or college. And there'll also be other webinars available in the future, just covering different subjects. So just make sure you keep your eye out for those too. So I'll pass you over to my colleague Katie, who will tell you a bit more about what we're going to be discussing today.
Thank you, Hannah. So, good afternoon. My name's Katie, and thank you very much for tuning in for our webinar presentation this afternoon. So, just a little bit about what we will be discussing throughout the presentation. So, we will be looking at what you can actually do after leaving either school or college. We'll be covering what an apprenticeship is and our most frequently asked questions. We will also be comparing apprenticeships against higher education, such as university, whether an apprenticeship is actually suited to you. We also have a section which looks at some of our current and previous students, which basically will give you an indication as to what their experience has been with an apprenticeship. And then we'll also be providing you with some guidance of how to actually find an apprenticeship and apply for an apprenticeship. Now, please note that you are muted throughout the webinar presentation. So if you would like to ask us any questions throughout, then what you can do is hover over the panel at the bottom of the screen and click on the chat function. So as I said, you can ask us questions throughout the webinar and we will try our very best to answer them towards the end. Now, this presentation will also be emailed to you, so you don't have to worry about writing everything down.
So just moving on to what can you actually do after you leave school or college. So up until you're 18 years old, some of the options that you have would be to stay in full-time education. So for example, going on to a sixth form college, you could start an apprenticeship, which is a combination of a paid job and also training as well. Or you could do a traineeship, which is a work experience placement.
And then finally, you could spend 20 hours or more a week working or volunteering, whilst also taking part in part-time education or training. Now, none of these options are better than the other. It does all depend on yourself as an individual. So for some things to take into consideration would be your specific skills, your career goals, your learning preferences, and then of course, as I said, your own personal circumstances.
So what is an apprenticeship? So an apprenticeship is a combination of full-time paid work and study. So it's a paid job that allows you to gain the relevant qualifications and experience whilst working as well. So with an apprenticeship, you do need to be committed to full-time work whilst learning and studying at the same time.
Now, the duration of an apprenticeship does depend on yourself, again as an individual. Most of our students do take between 1 and 2 years to complete their qualifications. Now, all apprenticeships must last for at least a minimum of 12 months, But as I said, with some higher apprenticeships, it can take 2 or 3 years.
So when you're working with your Damar trainer, you will improve your knowledge, your skills, and your understanding of the job role and the industry that you're working in as well. So most apprenticeships do have a wide range of optional units, so your qualification can actually be tailored to your needs.
Now, with your apprenticeship, you will obviously have to spend some time providing actual work, because you are in full-time education and working towards a national recognised qualification. As I said, there will be a level of homework as such that you'll need to do throughout your apprenticeship. Now, the training and assessment does take place during the working hours, but as I said, you might be expected to do some of your own homework, which will be in your own time. So, for example, in the evenings or at a weekend. You will have regular meetings with your Damar trainer throughout your apprenticeship, and you will also be supervised on the job by a workplace manager. Now, the qualifications are delivered by regular one-to-one tutorials, which again take place in the workplace, and they are also supported by online and paper-based training materials.
So moving on to the pay, what will you get paid for your apprenticeship? So the current apprentice minimum wage is £3.40 an hour. However, we do try and encourage our employers that we work with to pay more, and we appreciate things like cost of travel. The majority of our vacancies that we are recruiting for at the moment currently pay between £150 and £250 a week.
Okay. And then finally, in terms of the apprenticeships, most of them do contain a nationally recognised certificate or diploma in the relevant subject area. Now, these are issued by a respected awarding body, such as City Guilds or the Chartered Institute of Legal Executives. Throughout your apprenticeship, you may also be required to work towards functional skills qualifications in Maths, English and ICT, dependent on your prior qualifications in each of those subject areas.
So an apprenticeship against higher education. I suppose the benefits of an apprenticeship is that they are free to do, so you don't have any student debt. So the cost of going to university in England at the moment is currently £9,000 a year, so this doesn't include things like living expenses and also accommodation costs as well.
Now, with an apprenticeship, it is obviously paid employment. Now, as Hannah previously mentioned, sometimes you can be paid less than national minimum wage at the very beginning of an apprenticeship. Now, because it is obviously full-time employment, that does tend to mean less free time. And some might say that they do miss out on the student experience, but they do obviously have a head start to their working life. Now, with university, you of course don't earn a full-time salary, but there is usually more free time as some courses require less teaching hours per week than others. Of course, the more free time that you do get, that basically means that you've got much more contact with people of your own age, which does usually result in a better social life.
So with an apprenticeship, you're going to gain a qualification, work experience, and the possibility of a job at the end of the qualification as well. And also the opportunity to progress through different levels and grow in the role. With your university, you do just achieve a qualification. However, you can get your own work experience, but it may not be in the actual field that you're studying in.
Now, with apprenticeships, you can also apply and start an apprenticeship at any time of the year. Now, with university, there are set times you can apply, and you do usually start in September. Now, university is most definitely a good option for people who aren't quite ready to commit themselves to employment. Finally, apprenticeships are specialised to your role and industry, whereas with some university degrees, such as English, they aren't necessarily targeted towards any particular job role or industry, which does lead to a broader range of career options.
So is an apprenticeship actually suited to you? So there are a few things for you to consider when looking at apprenticeships. So what grades will you achieve at the end of your school or college? So just for an example, if you have a particular interest in AAT, accountancy, your grades would have an impact on that. It may be that an employer might require a C and above in maths, so your grades would need to look at those depending on the area that you want to go into. What skills and qualities do you have? Your career goals, so what is it that you actually want to do in the long run? If you're not sure, maybe you could just complete a qualification that would give you some transferable skills and some good work experience. And also, are you more of a theoretical or a practical learner? So your college option would be your theory, classroom-based studying, and then you've got your apprenticeship, which is your practical learning. So you're learning the qualification, you're studying, but you're also gaining the valuable hands-on experience as well.
Okay, so this next slide, as previously mentioned at the start of the presentation, does refer to two of our current students. Now, as I said, you are able to access other student case studies on our website, which of course you'll see links to those at the bottom of the page. So please obviously feel free to have a look at other case studies that we've got currently on the website. So just an introduction, we have at the top of the page a young lady called Damar, who is currently completing her apprenticeship in accountancy and business skills, and she's working at a chartered accountants based in Manchester city centre. And then the young man on the page is a young man called Tyrone Parsonage. He is working towards a business administration apprenticeship at Greater Manchester Police. Now, Tyrone has successfully gained full-time employment within the organisation and will be working as an operational support officer. Now, in terms of finding an apprenticeship, if you are interested in any of our apprenticeships, then please obviously feel free to register your details with us if you haven't done so already. Now, we do have a contact form on our website where basically you input all of your personal information, which is then sent into members of staff at Damar. So again, you'll be able to find a link for that on the presentation. You can also check out all of our qualifications, which again are listed on our website with much more information. Now, please note that for our computer gaming apprenticeships and also our apprenticeship opportunities with Greater Manchester Police, they are open for applications at specific times of the year.
So you can actually apply for an apprenticeship when you're still in school, but as Katie mentioned before, unlike university, apprenticeships are recruited all year round, and they do tend to have quite immediate start dates, sometimes less than a month. And what I would probably suggest is that we are making a list of details for people that are currently in school and college at the moment that are not due to finish, so you can actually still register your details with us, but it is best to start applying for apprenticeships around a month before you're actually due to leave school or college. So you can actually search for apprenticeships. There's a link on the website on this page here. On the website there's a list of all our vacancies, and also you can actually go through the gov.uk website as well. So the gov.uk website has a range of apprenticeships on there, not just from us but from various different providers as well, and also direct employers.
So if you feel that you're not quite ready for an apprenticeship, then maybe a traineeship is worth considering. Now, a traineeship is a workplace is a work experience placement, which is basically designed to help prepare you for then progressing onto an actual apprenticeship itself. Or what you can do is obviously approach any of your family members who may be able to arrange some work experience placements within their actual own organisations that they work for. So, in terms of any questions, we haven't had any direct questions come through throughout the webinar presentation. So, what we can just show you here is basically our contact details. So, if you do feel as though you've got any questions that you would like to ask about the webinar presentation or just generally, then please do obviously feel free to contact us.